Man Up, a program dedicated to inspiring and helping men live lives of heroic virtue. And now, it's time to Man Up.
Welcome to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. We are broadcasting on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network. I am Joe Stopulos, and today I am joined by my good friend, Mr. J. Freiermuth, who's a colleague of mine here at Holmes Murphy and Associates, someone I've known for about 15 years now, and a guy who is, in addition to his day job, has a passion for health and fitness and helping people to live healthier lives. And as we continue this series on health and fitness, he's a perfect guy to have on as we continue these conversations on helping people to equip them with the tools they need to be successful. Let us start in prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and the snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl by the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. And Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. J. Freiermuth, the guy is, when I talk about evangelization for a certain thing, spreading the good news, he does that in spades when it comes to health and fitness. What I've seen him do here at Holmes Murphy is incredible. The way he shares his time and helping people to live, to achieve the goals they want to achieve in their fitness is something he lives out every day. And as you'll see, obviously we're 3 parts into this series, and there's a spectrum. One of the things I'm hoping to accomplish is that you can see that it's not just one way to do it. There's lots of ways to be successful in this. And we obviously talked with Lance Farrell, we've talked with Joe Teeling, and now with Jay, they all have different things that they do. And hopefully, and then next week we'll have someone else on, and we can talk. You can hopefully be able to piece together, what are the things that I get from the different speakers, from the different guys being interviewed, on what was successful for them, and then how can I implement it into my life. So we're going to head to a short break, and when we return, my friend J. Freiermuth will be with us. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Farm Bureau Agent Cindy Schulte, an authorized independent agent for Walmart Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Iowa, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association. Learn more at 515-226-2111 or cindyschulte.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Paul Martin and Paul Mitchell, owners of Imogene Ingredients. Imogene Ingredients supply specialized feed ingredients for livestock and pet diets to improve maternal and young animal health in both conventional and organic production.
Fast Signs is a custom sign and visual solutions company with an extensive selection of digital signage, interior and exterior signs, banners, and vehicle wraps. Learn more at fastsigns.com. Thank you, Fast Signs in Clive, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for programming has been provided by Marr Security Services, a family-owned security company that provides full-service security solutions to homes and businesses throughout the Midwest. Learn more at permarsecurity.com. Thank you, Marr Security Services, for supporting Iowa Catholic Radio. Support for programming provided by
John Leonetti here. Never been to Rome or Assisi or itching to go back? Bring faith to life with the Great Saints Pilgrimage to Rome and Assisi with me, October 7th to the 16th, pilgrimagetorome.com. That's pilgrimagetorome.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by Ashworth Vision Clinic. Complete eye exams, contact lenses, glasses, glaucoma testing, and urgent eye issues. 515-440-4610, ashworthvision.com.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Edible Arrangements, for their support, offering fruit bouquets and gourmet dip chocolate treats. On the go or have it delivered for that special occasion, ediblearrangements.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from A New Look Exteriors, an Anderson-certified contractor providing custom window installations, roofing, siding, gutters, concrete, and more to help give your home a new look. Learn more at anewlookexteriors.com.
My help comes from you. You're right here.
Welcome back to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. Excited today to have on my good friend, Mr. J. Freiermuth, partner at Holmes Murphy, a co-worker of mine for 15 years, and a guy who, I'm very excited about the Lord. As you guys all know, I love telling people about the Lord. I'm also pretty darn excited about nutrition and fitness, and Jay is a similar mind. He loves evangelizing the good news of helping people be fit. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Joe.
And Jay does that while managing a business and a family and all this other stuff. So he's the perfect guy for this. And I know when I was kind of coming up with this idea of a series on health and fitness, you were one of the people, though Jay is he's like, I don't know any part about radio. I don't know what I'm talking about. I said, no, you just tell your story, man, because he is a leader, especially within our company, but around the area on this stuff. And so, Jay, as I told you ahead of time, really the goal of this series is, and we talked about it last week with Lance Farrell, which is to say there's this idea that we only have, God created our bodies. We have to cultivate them in order to do the work that he has created for us. All that to say, we have to take care of our bodies. And there's various modes of philosophies and health and fitness to give people the ability to take control of their health. And so I want to interview a wide range of people. And you're someone who's, I've known you for 15 years and you've been in shape the entire time. I'm sure that's changed over time, but give us a rundown. Were you always into fitness and whatnot, even in high school and before?
Yeah, I think so. I was trying to think about that a little bit this morning. Prepping for this a little bit, but
thank you.
Yeah. It's funny. I do remember getting a plastic sand-filled weight set. If you know what I'm talking about, the barbell would probably be about the width of your thumb, and barbell would be a loose term for that. And I maybe it went up to 100 pounds or 150 pounds. I don't even know. But I remember getting that when I was probably junior high-ish.
Okay.
I guess. And at that time, I'm guessing I was probably tipping the scales at a whopping 70 pounds or so. I was very, very small. And for whatever reason, I always kind of looked up to the guys that were, built. Maybe it's the Lou Ferrigno Hulk days of Friday night TV or whatever. But I just always kind of wanted to see what I could do. And frankly, the only way I could ever seem to gain any weight was by lifting. And so it goes all the way back to that. And the first gym I think I ever went into, our high school, we had a classroom that had a Nautilus, if you can remember the square Nautilus machines with the leg press and the little pull-up and the bench press. It was all plate loaded. You move the pin, and that's how you adjusted the weight. And that was our weight room until we decided to back out a bus out of the bus barn and cobble together a bunch of weights. This was not me.
Which town are you in? This sounds
Adel. This was Adel.
This is Adel before it was cool.
Yes, Adel before it was cool.
Yeah.
This would be, I suppose it'd be in the mid-'80s, somewhere around there. Yeah. And, I walked in there, and there were some pretty big dudes in there, and I was still a whopping 70 pounds. And I'm not sure I could lift the bar at the time. But anyways, it's always been a passion.
But you keep it going even in college and afterwards you were into, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference between you and me right there. I mean, it's, again, I think there's parallels to faith life too. Some people pick up the faith in their, they never lose it, right? 7th grade, and they're always involved with it. And then other people later on in their 50s, 60s, something sparks them. And, with health and fitness, we share this passion, but I didn't have this passion until I was probably 30. I never weighed more than, I never weighed a lot. I just never was in super great shape. I was in kind of mediocre shape. I lifted in high school and stuff, but then kind of fell off at post-college, and I didn't work out much in college, a little bit here and there. But you're obviously, you've been consistent with it for so long. And so, I think that's an interesting thing because you're talking about, in high school, or thereabouts, you're probably doing a lot of the stuff that everyone did in high school. Just a lot of, I assume, squat, bench, all the stuff, right? I mean,
no, I didn't like to squat, so I wouldn't touch the squat until I was in college.
What?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Very surprising. Yeah. Very surprising. Did you? Before I get too far, did you do sports in high school then too?
I primarily just wrestled in high school. Again, I was pretty small, so I had to find a sport where they matched you up with somebody else who also was pretty small.
That's helpful. So then, I guess I'm kind of curious. Then, how have your routines changed over time? How has what you do changed? I think that's one of the most interesting things to me because you're 50-ish, something like that.
51.
and he's in, freaking 4% body fat. Unbelievable. No, but he's in really good shape at 51. These are the things that I look at for life goals, is to be able to maintain a certain level of health and fitness throughout my life. And so clearly I would imagine things have changed. You aren't doing the same things today at 51 as you did at 20. And so maybe what has changed from a physical, like from a workout standpoint, and then we'll talk about nutrition after that.
Yeah. So I almost kind of would put it in maybe it's 3 buckets. For the longest period, it was all about how big I could get. And, I think it was all the bodybuilding type stuff. So, just try to eat as many calories as I could, try to push as much weight as I could, and my body would allow. I did actually pick up squatting and even deadlifting after a while.
I think you would kind of have to if you're getting into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Skinny legs would be kind of a weird thing for Arnold Schwarzenegger to have.
Yeah, you can't wear sweatpants all the time. So so I did get into that, and I would say that stuck until, gosh, it was almost 40.
Really?
And then I did get into the CrossFit scene, and I fell hard into that. I absolutely loved that. I liked the competition of it. I liked the different learning of it. It was just such a variety of things. It wasn't all about at the biggest I probably became or whatever. I don't know that I was that athletic. It was a lot of form over function, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was more about how you look, not how you could respond and move. So when I got into the CrossFit space, I learned some gymnastics. You could walk on your hands. You'd learn some Olympic lifts. It was a fun learning experience, and I absolutely loved it. And now, if I had to peg what I do today, it would be a mixture. It's still a little bit of high intensity CrossFit-ish type work, but like this morning, I just did your old classic bodybuilding type workout. My heart rate didn't get really high, but I just mix it up, and I enjoy that.
How old were you when you got into CrossFit?
I think I was around 40, 41, somewhere around there. So I was pretty late.
So here, and obviously, Lance was on last week, and he's got Farrell's builds a community, right? And I think there's a really important thing about that. I'm kind of a lone wolf in what I do, and that works for me. But I do believe the community aspect is really helpful for a lot of people to give them. There's a lot of benefits. Now you can list off all the benefits of having community. Talk to me about, and maybe try to sell our listeners on why someone should even consider CrossFit, what they would get out of that.
Well, I think the community is such a huge piece, and like you said, anymore, so I will work out on my own sometimes, and I can do that. But I think it's easier once you've done it for so long. I think if you're getting into exercise, the community aspect helps tremendously. Forever, I lifted with a lifting partner, and you kind of hold each other accountable. And it's 4:30 in the morning, and you don't want to get out of bed, but at the same time, you don't want to stiff your partner who's standing at the door waiting for you. So I think if you can get into whatever that community setting is, whether it's 2 people or it's 20 people, I think that helps keep you accountable.
So why CrossFit though specifically? There are a lot of communities.
Yeah. So
right?
it's a functional type movement. I think sometimes you can get a little carried away, and I certainly did, thinking that you had to burn the house down every workout and try to snatch a bunch of weight and do some different things. I don't think, in my opinion, that maybe isn't what I needed. But it's variety. It's variety and it's functional movements. So if you think of the core, it's, can you be more agile, more coordinated, have better accuracy, balance, flexibility, strength, power, speed, cardio, endurance, all those aspects. Like if I'm trying to make my body as good as I can, I want to be good in all those. I don't have to be great in any single one, and I think that's the model, is you don't need to be a specialist and be able to deadlift 600 pounds, but you still want to be able to lift a decent amount of weight and still be able to move, still be able to run, still be able to jump, still be able to control your body. So that's what I really enjoyed about it, is you become very well-rounded, and maybe that's why maybe that's why I fell into it so good. Because
I was going to say, it's safe to assume that when you were doing the bodybuilding stuff that you were not well rounded. Is that?
Cardio would be a foreign topic. The cardio consisted of pedaling on a bike or walking on a treadmill super slow, and heaven forbid I had to run.
It's interesting. Lance had a great line last week about his guru or whatever growing up would say that, basically if you see an older person taking really slow steps, they're losing their agility and basically saying they're going to die soon kind of thing. Like the more agile and flexible you can be, especially later on in life, the more important it is. And again, I try to think of fitness in terms of a lifespan, right? So being able to do the things, because you're not going to be able to do the things at 60 as you can do at 20. You're not going to be able to. And so hopefully your fitness and nutrition are going to evolve with that, right? And I think with CrossFit, that's clearly something. And Farrell's, he talked about that last week about this is a big part of what they do is cardio is part of it, and lifting's part of it, and flexibility is part of it. And I that feels like that's a bit of a change from the 80s, 90s. Obviously, when we grew up, and I'll hopefully have Dowling's strength coach on, because he talks a lot about the importance of yoga, the importance of stretching, even in high school, where it's like we didn't do anything like that in high school, right? That was a totally foreign concept. But hopefully people are starting to realize that, over time, how that works. So let's talk about nutrition, right? So there's the working out part of this, which is really important. And getting your body to move. And I guess I'll ask you one more question on that piece. Do you take days off?
Yes, I probably do. Or I do. It's somewhat rare. I always try to do something. Okay. It feels like, but those days off, quote unquote, would be, at least I'll go walk, or I'll go do, I'll take the dog for a walk through the woods, or do something where I'm still moving, or I might go out in the gym and do a few things. But one thing you said earlier is I think is super important. As we get older, it's all relative. Like I will still sprint is a loose term for me anymore, but I will still try to sprint. I think if all I'm doing is long runs, slow runs, I want to be able to still move relatively fast. No. I still want to be able to jump on things. I still want to have the power. So I'm hopeful that even when I'm 60, I'm still quote unquote sprinting. And I've worked with some people that have been in that age range, and it's maybe you're not sprinting like you or Ty Flood or some of these guys that are fire breathers, but at the same point, you're still trying to push and maintain what you can.
Yeah, no, there's no question. I think that's where I do, and I'm hoping to have a guy on who's knows the radio station really well, who's in the upper 60s, and that's what he does. He runs a lot of sprints and stuff. And again, I think that it's going to look different for every person. Also, like here's another thing, Jay, is like people like different things, right? What motivates me is not what motivates you necessarily, which isn't going to motivate listener XYZ. You got to find what you love, right? There's some level of like. So on the baseline side, you have to do something. Like this is like a call to arms to everyone out there. If you're not doing something, you got to do something. Like 3-4 days a week at least. And whether it's a 30-minute walk, I was talking with a guy last week who lost something like 40 pounds, got down to like 160. And I said, man, what did you do differently? He goes, I walked. I go, what do you mean? He's like, well, I walked every day. I go, how much? We're talking. He goes, I would walk 20,000 steps sometimes. He goes, I just walk forever. I just put an audio on and I just walk every day. And he lost like 40 pounds and went from 210 to 160 just walking. Like my point is,
fantastic.
Yeah, you don't need to like, do CrossFit. You don't need to do Farrell's, but you have to do something. Now, hopefully you can match up those things, find a community or find a routine that works well for you. And so let's transition over to the actual nutrition part, because this is a huge component. I talked a little bit with Lance about it last week about what he believes in, and I think this is the thing. There's also different philosophies, right? There's no science that's actually like proven on X, Y, and Z that you have to do these things. I do believe there are baseline things that we can all basically agree on. Walk us through your kind of philosophy on nutrition, maybe how that's changed over time.
Yeah. So it is funny. There's a skit that's out there on YouTube of the different trends and concerns in nutrition over the years. Don't eat the eggs. Now you can eat eggs. Don't eat fat. No, fat's good. And so I went through all that. There was a period of time where I'd monitor my fat intake, and it was down to, I think it was down to 10 grams a day.
No way.
It was dumb. Carbs were okay. Protein was okay. Fat was terrible. You don't want to ever touch that.
Wow.
I have morphed and learned, I hope, over the time. And so for me, I have to keep things fairly simple. I have weighed food. I've done macros. I've done zone. I've done all that kind of stuff. And occasionally I still will measure out my food and do things. But if I can make sure I get the protein intake that I'm looking for,
which is what?
So I do buy into the 0.7 to maybe, I don't know, maybe a gram, but probably 0.7 grams per body weight.
Okay.
It feels safe. It feels good. It's worked for me. So every meal when I eat, I am at least trying to figure out in my head, am I getting the protein I want out of that meal? And then the rest of it, as you know, carbs are super simple to find. Healthy fats, it's you can get into some non-healthy fats pretty quick, and that jacks up the calories very quickly. But if I can get the protein in, I think everything else will kind of fall in line. And then I do buy into the fact of there's an 800-gram challenge out there. I don't weigh the food again.
What is that?
So 800-gram challenge is you try to get 800 grams by weight of fruits and vegetables a day. I'm heavy on the fruit, not so much.
I can't even, my brain can't process what it looks like, so I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
It's E.C. Sinkowski is the person. I do follow her. I like her approach. She doesn't seem to be trying to sell too much. She does sell 800-gram challenge. But anyways, it's pretty simple. You do that and control your protein, and I think you're there. You try to limit the sugars. So I was
going to say the big bugaboo there is like you can if you're doing all the protein, you're doing healthy carbs, you're doing these things, but then you have 2 or 3 Pepsis a day or gallon of ice cream, like it's going to throw the whole thing off. And so there's a baseline level, and this is back even prior to me working out. In my 20s, I never gained all that much weight, and people are like, oh, how do you stay so thin? I'm like, I just don't eat a bunch of crap. I mean, I really have always been pretty good. My breakfast for 15 years has been a yogurt and spinach smoothie. I mean, it's been for darn near 15 years, every single day. I just don't even think about it. And I know myself, Jay. You've seen me eat. I mean, I like to eat. I like to eat bad food. I mean, I like to eat the crap. I like to eat chips. I like to eat cookies. So guess what? They're not at my house. They just don't exist at my house because I know, and I know you're kind of in a similar boat too, right? Like and
I'll go off the rails sometimes and indulge, and I think that's totally fine. You don't want to be too strict, but
there's a level of control what you can control, right? And so you got to figure out what that looks like, but educate yourself on. For me at home, I can control it, right? I can control it really well, and so I just don't really allow that kind of stuff to be in my house if I can avoid it, because I know myself. I know that I like chips, I like ice cream, I like cookies and stuff. So the more that's why the hardest Halloween to Christmas just is bad for me. It's just not good. There's Halloween candy in the house. There's Christmas cookies. It's a tough place for me to be.
Yeah, but in the end, I think you're doing okay. So it's all right.
Well, again, I control the 80% I can control. I can control. I don't. I try not to get outside of that too much if I can avoid it. All right, so maybe a final thought you have, when you're trying to educate, because you're so good. Guys, I can tell you, Jay puts on CrossFit workouts at our office. He trains people at our office. He does a great he understands the importance of living a healthy life, and he's sharing that joy with others, and it's really inspiring to see. So I guess maybe one final thought you have, Jay, on what because you do a great job with this. You do a great job of evangelizing people to live healthier lives. You've kind of painted the vision. You help them do that. Is there maybe something you've learned from trying to help people who haven't maybe taken that first step to help them take that first step?
Oh, yeah. Gosh, there's so many things. Try not to do this for 10, 15 more minutes because there's so many things to say there. But I would say the first thing is just take the step. That's the hardest thing that they always say is just get across that threshold. Whatever you're going to do. If you're going to go to a gym, just get yourself there. Force yourself to drive there, get out of the car, walk in the door. If you're going to, again, I still think CrossFit's a great workout, but there's so many different options out there. There are way more options now than there ever have been. And I think you can almost always find something that you can do. We both had our fair share of injuries. I swam for probably 6 months, and that was painful to me because I'm not a swimmer, and to stare down at that black line and watch it go forever. But it's just, you can do so many different things. There's so many different classes. To steal a tagline from Nike, I guess, just do it. Just grab somebody. Go find somebody. There's so many options out there. If somebody here wanted to talk to me about it, I'd love to talk about it.
There you go. That's actually great. It's a great reference. If you guys are interested in having a coach, Jay does this stuff for free. He just loves seeing people do it. I did a show 2 weeks ago. Jake Robertson had recommended The Slight Edge, which I read and did a show on 2 weeks ago. And that's essentially, Jay, what you just said. Like, you just have to take the first step. Do it. Yeah. And whether it might be today doing the 15-minute walk today. It might be doing the 30-minute walk tomorrow, whatever these things are. So, all right, there's your takeaway. If you're looking to get super fit, Jay Freiermuth, he'll reach out to him on LinkedIn or something. He'll help you out. So
LinkedIn will be tough. I'm not very good about checking that. But
you'll figure out his contact information's out there. You'll figure it out. Jay, thanks so much, brother.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. We'll see you.
We're headed to a short break, and we will be right back.
Iowa Catholic Radio would like to thank our business partner, Edible Arrangements, for their support, offering fruit bouquets and gourmet dip chocolate treats. On the go or have it delivered for that special occasion, ediblearrangements.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Knights of Columbus, Borman and Pfeiffer Agencies, serving the Catholic families in Iowa. The Knights of Columbus is a fraternal benefit society providing financial security to members and their families, specializing in life insurance, long-term care insurance, disability income insurance, and retirement annuities. And you can reach Knights of Columbus field agent Rob Ryan at 563-689-6801. That's 563-689-6801. Thank you, and God bless.
St. Vincent de Paul helps so many people.
You're right, Zoe. St. Vincent de Paul Executive Director Steve Havman here. We are serving over 32,000 local residents with food, clothing, furniture, and financial assistance annually. We invite you to learn more about all of our life-changing programs that positively impact so many Iowans by simply Googling St. Vincent de Paul of Des Moines. Our mission is to help those in need become self-sufficient through education, community connectedness, and unconditional support. Help us, help others.
Even kids!
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry. Sarah is an apostolate dedicated to the support of new and existing vocations to the priesthood and consecrated life. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by the law offices of Amanda T. Adams. Catholic-owned and operated, Amanda offers a variety of family legal services, including adoption and guardianship. Learn more at amandatadamsjdlaw.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by Paul Martin and Paul Mitchell, owners of Imogene Ingredients. Imogene Ingredients supply specialized feed ingredients for livestock and pet diets to improve maternal and young animal health in both conventional and organic production.
My help comes from you.
Welcome back to Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. My thanks again to Jay Freiermuth. Here's a guy, as you heard there, and I could really go deeper on this, but his willingness to help others is evident. Obviously, if you're here at Holmes Murphy, you can see it. But I mean, he brings people out to his house. He helps people here in the office. And that's in addition to his day job. He just has a passion for this. Has a passion for helping people to achieve goals and to live healthier lives. And you can already see the difference, right, between what Jay does in his own life and what Joe Teeling did in his life and what Lance Farrell did. Their workouts are obviously very different, right? So Lance is kickboxing. He does his 6 days a week. 3 of them are with kickboxing, cardio, strength, kind of a mixture of all those things. Joe Teeling talked a lot more about starting where you're at, on the whatever gets you excited, and then work on that. And then he personally does kind of high intensity interval training. And then Jay, obviously CrossFit was a huge deal for him. He was always in good shape and always working out and whatnot, but then found his way into CrossFit, and that's what fit for him. And my point in that is we're going to talk about various ways, different methods that you can use. And the goal, I think, goes back to what Joe said, is find the thing that you like, the thing that gets you excited. and then do it in the thing that you'll stick with. Find the thing that you will stick with. It might be CrossFit, it might be Farrell's, it might be something like that. But find the thing that excites you enough that you'll stick with it. So thanks for joining me today on Man Up on Iowa Catholic Radio. I am Joe Stopulos. It's time to man up.
Man Up, inspiring men to live out their call to holiness.